What's up, guys? I am Laura from Reading in Bed. Today is Sunday, December 3rd. We're going to open story number 3 in the short story advent calendar. Now, before I get started and also talk about story number 2, I discovered there is a third booktuber out there who is reviewing stories each day. Her channel name is CR Flames Fan, and I believe her name is Cheryl. Cheryl, I hope you're feeling okay after the Flames got trounced by the Oilers last night. Now, it's not all good news because the final score was 7-5 for the Oilers, but I believe we were up 6-1 at one point. I live in Edmonton, and presumably she lives in Calgary, so we've got rival hockey teams for all you Americans who are puzzled right now. So we've got Anne from I've Read That, we've got Cheryl from CR Flames Fan, and myself. Now I know there's a couple other booktubers out there who have this thing, The Bookish Land, Simon Savage, probably a few others. So guys, come on, let's see some reviews. This is a lot of fun, and it fulfills the whole vlogmas thing, so why not, right? So let's talk about story number 2. This was 43rd C Platoon by C.P. Boyko, who is an alumni of the short story advent calendar. I believe he had a story in the first one. Now this was a war story, as you can probably tell from the title, but it was off kilter because all of the frontline, people that we met in this battle were women. Eventually we got introduced to some of the higher ups and they were all men, but it was still weird. And then there were the names, like everyone just had a last name, or that's all we were introduced to. And the last names were all, like, it seemed like they were run through some kind of a filter that added vowels or took vowels away or something. Like, they were just not quite names you would be familiar with. Same with place names. Like, we've got a village called Apilnol. We've got last names like Laskintan and Tolb and Bork with 2 O's. And they're just, you can't place them. That's why I thought, like, maybe he had taken real names and sort of manipulated them somehow. And I did end up Googling a couple of the village names and they don't exist. So just everything about it was meant to throw you off track. And even the food they were eating, like, they complained about the repetitiveness of the rations they got. But the kind of food they got was weird, like pineapples in oil and goat jerky. So you're trying to place this in a certain geography and you can't. And even trying to place it in a time and you can. It feels like World War II because they talk about radios. They don't talk about, any kind of other wireless technology. They talk about tanks and planes. But something felt more modern too. Maybe it's just that there were a lot of women there. I don't know. And the story itself was horrific. It actually put me in mind of War and Peace, which I read this summer. And a lot of the battle scenes in War and Peace were just very chaotic and there was a lack of leadership and there were all these people running around and just blowing up and just the meaninglessness of it all. And that's what I felt from this story. And there was some horrible, violent and gory scenes. The writing was really beautiful, though. The passage I read out yesterday at the very beginning was really beautifully written, and that kind of persisted throughout too. So you had that contrast between the beautiful description of all these like very odd landscapes and then the horrible deaths that people were witnessing and experiencing. So this was another really strong story. I'm not sure which one I like best of number 1 and number 2. For me, they were both really, really strong. So I'm excited to see what's next. Let's get right to it. Okay, number 3. Oh, we've got some nice pastel colors. Maybe we'll have something a little less creepy and violent this time. Maybe? Okay. So, let's see. We have got Lady with Invisible Dog by Christopher Boucher. Let's see. Who are you, Christopher Boucher? He is the author of the novels How to Keep Your Volkswagen Alive and Golden Delicious, both from Melville House. And he's the managing editor of Post Road magazine. He lives in Boston and teaches writing and literature at Boston College. And this story was published originally in 2010, but it's certainly not one I'm familiar with. It is about the same length as yesterday's, 21 pages. And let's just take a look at the very beginning. I met the lady with the invisible dog in 1995, about a year after my father's death, at the same exact time that I was rustle-tussling with a man called the narrator. I'd taken the money that my father had left me and opened up a bookstore, and this narrator, a blonde-haired, mustached, and muscled fellow from nearby Holyoke, started harassing me and making all these threats. At first I didn't take them seriously, but then my coworker, Boris Sarah, clarified for me exactly how troublesome this narrator character might become for us. I asked Boris Sarah what to do. "Make friends with him," Boris Sarah replied. "Tell him you see his point. Apologize for your rude behavior." "Apologize?" I said. "Formally?" "I don't think you appreciate the severity of this situation," Boris Sarah said. Well, I'll read this and see if I appreciate the severity of this situation, and I will report back bright and early tomorrow because it is a school day, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching.